Musical theater is absolutely the hardest job in the whole dang universe. Yep. I can't explain to you how hard it is to make theater. And I've always had immense respect for musical theater, but it's so hard.
My name is Katharine Quinn, and welcome to Game Changers, which is your backstage pass to the innovators transforming Broadway. Today, we have Austin and Meredith, a.k.a. Costin Mayer, and I'm so excited that you're here. Viral dance duo, rising musical theater stars, theater kids, like originally.
At one point in time.
More Austin than me.
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it, yeah.
We love it. Yeah. Anyway, I'm thrilled and honored to have you both here. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. Selfishly, we just love hanging out with you.
That's true.
Angels.
But we're so excited to be here too.
I'm so happy. And this is the first episode that we're doing of all of the series. I'm doing 25 episodes, 5 mini seasons of 5 different shows that'll all air between December and February of 2025. This is number 1.
Well,
so
if
I'm pumped.
each tagline goes as well as that one,
That's so
you're
true.
set. Because that was fire.
That was
you
really
absolutely
good.
destroyed the intro. First take, everyone. Just so you know, she didn't sit here and do that 7 times. That was the first
That was one take. Yeah.
I'm honored. How did you two meet?
Woo, let's take it back.
All the way back.
We met doing a Halloween show called Dead Man's Party
Love.
at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey.
Is there YouTube footage?
Yes.
The full
show
show
is recorded and on YouTube.
We love.
And typically I think people are like, oh my gosh, don't watch that job. Like, that was so long ago. I'm so embarrassed. No, you should totally go watch it.
I will fully bring that
It's
job up
actually
till
so
I'm 90.
fierce.
Yeah.
Who choreographed it? Do you know?
Teresa Stone.
Work?
We had so much fun.
Love.
We had the best time. The cast is absolutely incredible. Superstars that are doing like incredible things in the industry now.
Actually, the majority of the cast was in our wedding, like our wedding party. Like, that's how close that cast was. It was such a good cast.
Yeah, that's how you know. Like, I did a contract. This is not about me, but like wedding parties are a thing, and I feel like if you have a collection of the people that you've worked with and like that you really formed that kind of connection with, it's like that says something about those people.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
We married each other. That's how close.
We
That
were
cast
close.
stuck together for life. We have genuinely stuck together forever. It's crazy.
Were you dating during the contract?
No.
No, we are
you
extremely
kidding
professional.
me? A showmance?
You would never?
We would never.
How did that happen? Because you're married now. So how did that happen?
We were still living in the city. So we went and lived on site there for like a couple of weeks. And then the show went on for like a few months. And so it eventually ended up being just either like Thursday through Sunday or Friday through Sunday.
It was Friday through Sunday were the shows.
And we would
once
go
it
back
opened.
to New York during the week. And so once we started doing that, we sort of started running into each other at a lot of auditions. We just kept running into each other
Classes,
all the
auditions,
time.
all kinds of things.
And
yeah.
and we just hadn't before that, which is weird because we have so many mutual friends and mentors. So it's odd that we didn't cross paths before that.
Right.
But we just started seeing so much of each other. And then after the contract, we just kept hanging out.
Love.
And then I was like, hey, there's a pandemic happening. Let's go stay with my parents for 2 weeks.
A year and a half
Wrong.
later.
And y'all were already dating at that point. You were
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like, hi, friend, come live with me.
Correct. But we were
Cool.
pretty freshly dating.
Yeah. I mean, I think we started officially dating in like the beginning of February. And then pandemic was March.
That's wild.
That's like a month and a half.
You had at least already met my mom at that point, which
Yeah,
was a
because
plus.
her mom came to New York.
Okay, so you were auditioning in New York. Are you auditioning for commercial dance? Are you auditioning for theater? Are you auditioning for all of the things? Like, what was the hope and dream at that point?
I was doing commercial.
I was training both. And I was auditioning both to an extent, but I was sort of growing frustrated with commercial auditions. And I was starting to audition more theater because I was so honestly exhausted of auditioning commercially as a female in stilettos.
Musical theater isn't always better, but like...
I do.
Maybe a
I
little
love
better.
both so much, and I love working commercially. And I think once you're working commercially, there's such an array of different jobs, but especially when you're, I don't know, something about commercial auditions was starting to drive me a little bananas.
Yeah.
And so I was auditioning a lot of theater because I was kind of just looking for a change of scenery.
Love. Did you end up doing theater or did the world shut down?
World shut down.
Yep. Yeah.
Cute, but now you're making theater, so it like kind of worked out.
Yeah.
In the
Okay,
long
wait.
run,
So
yeah.
the world shuts down. When did y'all start making TikTok videos.
We spent so much time choreographing separately.
Oh, that's right.
Which was so hilarious
That's
to look back
amazing.
on because we never planned on being like business partners or like choreography duo extraordinaire. Like we really didn't, not that we're that now.
I was going to say, wow.
Yes, they are.
But we never really planned on working together. So when we did get stuck together during the pandemic,
That's true.
we started choreographing separately and we would like go in different rooms and make stuff up and then like come back together and teach it to each other. So funny and weird looking back on it because we have worked together for so long now.
So silly.
But I don't know, we just didn't really think of it.
Yeah.
Were your styles, like, how would you describe each of your styles at that point?
Well, that's the thing is that
Oh, that's a really good question.
I think once we started, I think at first it might have been a little different, but I think once we started choreographing together, we realized that we did have kind of similar upbringings, just it was like reversed. Like I started out doing musical theater when I was like 9 years old.
What was the first show?
Annie, Get Your Gun.
Yes.
I was little Jake.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I die.
I had a coonskin hat and
Find
everything.
that footage.
Yeah.
Truly.
I'm begging
It's somewhere.
you.
There's pictures. My mom had
emailing your
whole
parents.
I've never
scrapbook.
seen footage though.
Yeah.
Not even me.
Footage is lost somewhere, but it could be found.
I have a new mission.
I'll
Great.
help you. We
Okay,
can
so you
team
did
up on
Annie
that.
Get Your Gun.
Annie, Get Your Gun. And then like when I was 15, 16 is when I kind of got into like hip hop. And that's when I kind of switched and wanted to do more of that. And I started doing like a lot of traditional foundational hip hop. But you started with hip hop and then kind of went into musical theater.
Yeah.
Y'all grew up where?
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
East Coasters.
So you started with theater, moved into hip hop. You started with hip hop and are now sort of, or like starting in 2019-ish, started moving into theater.
I did like school productions.
Love. What
So,
were you in?
My favorite musical, one of my favorite musicals of all time, that was the first musical I ever did, was Tarzan. The music in that show
a hot
is
take.
literally so.
That is not known as the best Disney theatricals.
And I don't think it is. I didn't say it was the best, but it has
was your
an
best.
extremely special place in my heart.
Personal
I also
favorite.
think the music is so good.
It is about Phil Collins. Like, you can't beat it. It's
a
really,
bomb.
really good.
It's such a special show, I think. I realize it is a hot take.
That is a hot take, and I love it. I think that's
But I
amazing.
love it. I love it. They should, we could probably bring it back and like revamp it a little bit.
Disney would honestly probably love that. You should get in on that.
I think it's a fun show. Our school really did it up. We also we had good theater budget at my school and we
That's
did like
great.
flight lines. Like we were like
What?
swinging monkeys.
Yeah.
It was
What?
The
so
full thing. I know.
fun.
What? That's
Yeah,
like a cruise budget. No one has
No,
that.
it
What?
was literally. I have
high
seen
school? In a
high
I've
school?
seen
Right.
cruise shows that had less budget.
I bet you have. I bet I have too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most people probably have. I think that and because I went to a high school that had a lot, like we poured a lot into theater and arts and music and things like that. And so there was a great program. And when I did it for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is so fun. Like so fun. When
Love.
your first experience is like flying as a ape,
That's insane.
I'm having a good time. What was I running track before this? Like why?
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, wait. So your styles were the same, weren't the same? Were hip hop, were street jazz, were more musical theater informed? When y'all were showing each other's choreography, what were you doing? And was it for video? Or was it with the hopes of like being on bodies in space?
It was literally just to occupy our time
like,
and
pass
like
the
not
time.
be sad. Yeah.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
were just bored.
Yep.
Yeah.
And had nothing else to do.
And style wise,
I don't really know. Probably we were both coming off of commercial work. So at
was
that
probably
time
leaning more that
it was
way.
probably leaning commercial.
Yeah.
I actually do currently think our style leans commercial. I think that we have very theatrical intentions behind our commercial movement, but our movement itself leans commercial in my
But back
opinion.
then was probably definitely
More commercial
commercial.
based. And we
Yeah.
were just coming up with like little combos.
yeah.
when did the first TikTok video happen with the two of you? And was it jointly choreographed or was it one of you? Do you know?
No, the first TikTok we made was probably just something we learned.
Yeah, I think
We didn't start doing original videos for
a little bit.
probably like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Because we were just trying to feel it out. We didn't really know what it was. It was actually my mom's idea for us to start making.
Thanks, Mom.
I know.
Thanks, Mom.
That's awesome.
The
Big
biggest
thanks to Mom. Yeah.
ever. Wow. It was actually her idea. She was like, people are making videos on TikTok. They're dancing.
Just like that.
And I
She
was
said
like,
it just like that.
Okay.
Cool, Mom.
I was probably like, we're more serious than that, Mom. Which is like everything that I do not say now.
Right.
But yeah, it was her idea.
Wow.
And so then we made a video and we were like, cool.
Yeah,
Something
we
to do.
started out learning you know, the popular trends that were happening. And then I think at one point it kind of shifted to like, well, what if we added our own little thing here and like sprinkled in our own little
It's actually a Nathan Lust video. I don't know if you know who Nathan Lust is. He's a great friend of ours now. He's awesome. He makes hilarious, amazing videos. And he had made up this like funny little dance trend, and we added this like very like a locking section on the back of it.
Like locking.
And people were like, oh my gosh, so fun that this is like new and different and whatever. Because that dance was really like having its moment, but they loved what we added onto it. And that was when we were like,
different,
maybe we should just do all like original stuff. And that's when we really started leaning into 99%. I mean, I would say we probably do 98 or 99% original content. We learn dances every now and then.
Because then we were taking like the popular songs that people were used to hearing, but doing our own thing. So it kind of made people stop and be like, oh, that's completely different, but it's the sound that I know. And so I think that like
really
that's something that really helped
get traction.
Yeah.
Do you have any sense of how many followers you had when you were doing other people's work?
That only really lasted for like a few weeks. I don't think we really started gaining traction until we started doing original work.
Yeah.
So it wasn't super relevant. We weren't tracking our growth until we started seeing growth, and that growth didn't happen until we started sharing original pieces.
How quickly did it feel like, and did it actually happen where it was like, oh, this is a thing?
You know, I think that we didn't have one. I think a lot of people have like a moment that it just
like a video
blew up for them. And we never really had that.
Yeah.
We have had a very steady incline of growth since the beginning. We've never had a moment where it was just like, boom, there's a million. Like, I think that it's been super steady and consistent, and that has been such a blessing. That has been the greatest thing you could ask for, because I think it hasn't put the pressure on us to kind of, I don't know, like try to hold on to a fleeting moment. It's felt like we've actually built a community that's interested in watching the things that we make. And it hasn't felt like we have to scramble to keep them around, which is awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm definitely within your first 10K followers.
First 10K?
Wow.
Then why are you asking these questions? You probably know them better than we do.
Well, I don't. Does anyone remember anything from the pandemic? I don't.
I know. Just blacked out for
No,
a year.
100%.
Yeah.
But like, no, it was like
That's crazy.
early.
Well,
Early.
Wow.
thank you.
Oh, please. I loved it.
A personal, deep-rooted thank you.
Anytime. No, it was, and watching the growth was nuts. It was amazing. And like, I was sharing videos being like, oh my God, they've got like 5,000 followers. This is awesome. And then it's like,
Wait, hilarious.
Isn't
I
that
wonder
nuts?
how you found us. I wonder what video it was. So like put us on your page. Yeah, conjure it up.
I have to conjure because
Go
I
there.
definitely did it with my ex and made a TikTok video of it on a now defunct account. Please don't find that video.
Somebody, you have
No,
time.
I'm not even going
You
to
have
tell
time.
him what song it was to. My partner, who is off screen, was following me at that time. So it's like now a full circle moment of like, they probably saw the video of me doing your choreography sometime in 2020.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Wow.
There wasn't like a moment. Okay, what about like turning it into a job? I am a micro nano creator.
That's not even true.
That's not
It
true.
is. It is actually true, and I still find monetizing like mysterious, and vague, and like how do you know how much to charge? Obviously, now you have representation and management and people who can help you. But in early days, how the heck did you know what to do? Were people approaching you? Did you approach people? A combo of both? Like, at what point were you like, oh, this is a job?
People have always reached out to us, even to this day, even though we work with management and agencies. 99% of the work we do is all inbound.
Wow.
We don't pitch a lot, at least brand deal wise, social media strictly. But the first people that I ever remember coming to us was Sheetz. That's the first brand deal I remember.
Yep.
Sheetz, the gas station, was like, we'll give you like $50 Sheetz gift cards if
two
you like make a
$50
sheet.
gift
Yeah,
cards.
2.
We got 2,
And
one for
I-
each of us.
And in this economy, come on. I mean, we were like, yeah, girl. We'll
Go up to
we'll
those
throw in the
kiosks,
circle
beep,
for the
boop
food.
in your
Yeah.
food order.
we
Yeah.
went to the actual sheets, like
And
in
filmed an
person.
ad. And I, to this day, actually don't think that ad's half bad. I look at some of the old
love
stuff
that.
we filmed and I think it's so cringe, but the Sheets
That's
ad
one of them.
kind of slaps.
Yeah.
I can't even lie. We put our backs into it
We
for those
did.
$50 gift cards. And that's the first ad that I remember.
Yeah, same.
Oh, which is funny because that's like a legitimate brand.
Yeah.
But they gave us next to
A high
nothing.
five.
But we had
They
no
did.
idea, like, what to charge, how to read contracts, like make sure that we were like fully protected. We were just kind of,
And that was a super hard thing to navigate
Yeah.
because once we got into like bigger kid contracts, we realized that it would sort of start conflicting. So in this time of life, we're still very much in the mindset that we are going to go back to being individual performers. And so we're starting to think in the mindset of like, oh, is the usage and the rights that they have to my likeness going to
Exclusivity.
mess me up if a dance agent wants to send me on a commercial? Because if we're doing a brand deal and that brand deal has the exclusivity where if I'm, doing an ad for like Coca-Cola and I can't be seen with Pepsi for 3 months, then
I can't do the
a dance
in-person Pepsi
agent
job.
can't send me.
Right.
It starts getting a little bit
Hairy.
confusing, very
Yeah.
hairy.
Yeah.
And so that is when we started taking meetings with managers, and it took us a long time to try to find a manager that could sort of understand both worlds.
Well, it was also like y'all were one of the first big TikTok creators, I feel like. Or like you were in the class of like 2020 or class of 2021 of giant TikTok creators. And so it was like there wasn't totally a precedent. Like, because I feel like it's a different beast than the Instagram creators that we've had for the last decade. So I feel like even management probably had trouble being like, okay, wait, this is a different ballgame. What are we
Yeah.
doing here?
well,
I mean, it was new, but even in that moment, we were like, we're not reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah.
There are dancers that are famous
Yeah.
on YouTube,
Yeah.
on other platforms. And so there has to be somebody that understands how to tackle this like two-sided beast. And that was when we sort of sat down and we were like, let's figure out what we need. We ended up actually calling Kyle Hanagami and saying, hey,
I'm dead.
you
Help us.
Like, can you help us? Because I was like,
That's
who is the epitome
amazing.
of doing
Yeah.
work online and
Yep.
work in person? And we were
Kyle.
like, Kyle.
Yeah.
So we called him and we said, hey, do you know anybody that can manage us? Because we're struggling to figure out how this all works together. And he said, you should call Casey Rice's manager. His name's Larry, blah, blah, blah. And so we Googled him, found his phone number, and just cold called him. And I was like, hey.
She was like, I'm just going to
Many-
call him. I was like, oh, we're not going to like write a nice email? She's like, no, I'm just going to call him.
I was like, we'll probably
like,
get his
all
like
right.
assist. He's also,
Good
we're
for
in North
you.
Carolina at the time. He's like a Los Angeles-based independent manager. We're like sitting at my parents' home in Raleigh, North Carolina.
In
I'm
the
like,
attic.
I'm going to call him. And I'm like, we're surely going to get like an assistance to the assistant's assistant. And it rings like once and he's like, Larry Shapiro. And I was like,
She looks at me like the biggest eyes were like,
I was like, hi, my name's Meredith Batchelor at the time. I said, me and my boyfriend are trying to figure out how to navigate traditional entertainment and
Social media.
and we're struggling.
anything?
Help, please.
And
And we immediately knew that he was going to be amazing because I think a lot of times, especially in the dance industry, when you're getting in front of an agent, you're trying to talk an agent into why they want to sign you. Even though they're the ones working for you, you are so putting your back into like
The sales
trying
pitch.
to get people to pay attention to
Yep.
you and sell you to them. And he was like, that phone call was crazy because he said, okay, well, here's a list of people that I work with. Here's some things I could do for you.
did he know you?
No.
No.
He said,
Hadn't even seen us.
He was familiar with our work.
Okay.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
But he was like, I'm going to take a look at your stuff. But in the meanwhile, you should also take a look at my stuff and see if, like the
Here's
things
my
I do would
roster,
work for
here's
you.
my
That's
website.
amazing.
And pitch himself to us. Like he pitched him to us. And we were like, wait, what?
That's amazing.
Unheard
And we
of.
still work with him to this day.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And he reps what kind of work for the two of you? Everything?
He represents us everything, but he's our management. We actually just recently started working with Gersh as an agency. This is the first time we've really worked with like an agent. We've just been with Larry forever. We
Yeah.
have two managers, Larry and Madison. They work together, and then the team at Gersh.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
it's great.
TikTok blows up. You start doing brand deals. When did Los Angeles enter the conversation? Was that like, we're going to get married and move to LA? Like, how did that happen?
That's a great question because all of our stuff is in New York. So we left New York with intention of going back to New York. So all of our stuff's there. Our apartments are
Our
there.
apartments are
Our
still
things are there.
full with our stuff.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
And so we I don't really know. I think once we started working with Larry, that was a big part of the decision too, because Larry's out here. You know, it took live entertainment longer than TV and things like that to sort of start working again.
Totally.
And our opportunities were kind of skewing in that direction. So we said, hey, let's go try out LA for a little while and see if we like it. And so we did.
Yeah.
And you like it?
Yeah, we like it.
Yeah. No, yeah, we like it. I was going to try to differentiate it, but no, I think we like it.
There's like a question mark in both of your eyeballs right now. So I'm like, I'm curious about that.
I mean, I love the community we have out here. I love the work we do. I love being in a creative city where people are making all kinds of things. We also adored New York. We love living in New York. I love our community out there. I love visiting and teaching and seeing all the faces that we love in New York. I also love North Carolina. I would live in so many different places. I don't feel like, I especially now think that we have so much autonomy over our career, which is an amazing feeling, that it doesn't necessarily feel to me like we need to live in one place. Like half our work is in New York right now and we don't even live there.
Yeah.
And so it's a new conversation in our head that maybe where we live isn't so important in this new season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like that's one of the best things that came out of the pandemic is people were like, wait, we don't, like, just to work in New York doesn't mean that you have to be based in New York. Just because you want to work in LA doesn't mean you have to be based, like the dawn of remote everything. It was like, oh, wait, this doesn't have to mean what it always meant.
It was also such a dawn of, like, autonomy over your career again. I think that social media puts power back in the hands of creatives in a really amazing way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, it can be a force for good, which is so nice. Okay. You're doing brand deals, you're doing commercial work. The goal becomes what? Like, how do we get from, we're making incredible TikTok videos, we're doing our brand deals, we've moved to Los Angeles, and now it's like the goals are what?
I think the goal for me has never changed. I think that from the second I decided to pursue a career in the arts, my goal has been to make great, exciting things and tell great and exciting stories. And that's shifted from being a personal performer, like a solo performer. A personal performer.
I have a personal performer.
Book me personally. I think that no matter what phase of my career I've been in, whether that has been solo performance or social media or choreography or stage or screen or anything, it doesn't really feel like the goal has ever shifted. It just feels like, what medium am I currently working on making good entertainment in? And that feels like well-rounded to me. It has never felt like, oh, now we're doing this new thing. Oh, now we're doing this new thing. It has all felt like the same endeavor to me.
Yeah. And also just trying to, like, bridge the gap between the two. Like, I feel like we've been doing social media for so long, and I think we're pretty good at it. But I also think that now we kind of are getting back into traditional entertainment industry and traditional entertainment at large. It's like, how do we
marry those two?
Yeah. And how do we get them to both work together? Because they're both doing, like, incredible things for us. So let's get them to do incredible things for the projects and ideas that we have and that we can be a part of for other people and other, teams. So
I'm obsessed with that because all I want to do is bridge Broadway and the digital age. So that makes me really excited and happy. So you've choreographed Waitress, what, twice?
Twice.
In the last year?
Well, I guess we've said it twice and choreographed it once because that one show was the same show twice.
Yeah. Great. Same cast or no?
No.
Oh, new cast.
Some people were the same. We kept about three principals. And other than that, brand new ensemble, everyone else is
Was
different.
this your first musical theater choreography gig together?
Yep. Indeed.
What did you learn?
I learned that musical theater is absolutely the hardest job in the whole dang universe.
Yep.
I can't explain to you how hard it is to make theater. And I've always had immense respect for musical theater, but it's so hard. It's so much hard. And I went into it, I think, probably
That's
overconfident.
What I was about to say.
I was like, we've choreographed tours, right? We've choreographed music videos. We know how to put stuff on a stage. No.
Nope.
No.
We thought we were so ready and prepared, and we got into day one, and it was a slap across the face.
It's crazy. It's so
wild.
different than any other job I have ever done. And it was so fun too. Am I going down a doom path? I definitely loved it.
It was so much fun.
And I think the first time, I loved it more when we got to do it again, because I think the first time we were so new that it was just, it was an insane learning experience. It was also like thrown to the fire learning experience.
Yeah.
And them regional shows go so fast.
I was going to say, what was your rehearsal, like how many days? Because that's quick. Was that a gun quit?
Yeah.
That was pretty quick, right?
Oh, yeah.
So fast.
Like
I
10
think-
days or something, or 2 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
That's crazy. Ogunquit was like a rocket ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you learned that it's really hard. Why? Like what makes it, like what was hard?
I think Waitress especially is a little more difficult because that prop has 1 million.
You just said the prop.
That prop has
buried the
1
lead,
million
yeah.
shows. That show has 1 million props.
Yes.
And everything in that show is so nuanced and so pedestrian that it's all movement choreography. And so I think that was like we would go to rehearsal, realize that we, maybe were a little underprepared. And like that night we would have to like over prepare for the next day so that we could go in. I think it was just that
Not
part of it was.
I don't think that we were underprepared. I
Not
think that we were
underprepared.
actually perpetually overprepared. We just were overprepared in the wrong
Yes.
ways.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
Because you don't
Exactly.
know what you don't know. And so we're at our house imagining what 2 tables, a banquet, the 4 stool, like we're just like eyeballing the whole set, all of the props. Like, I mean, we're doing the best we
That's
can,
true.
throwing
Yeah.
flour around in our studio, but we try to prepare as much as we can, but so I don't think that we were
That's
underprepared.
true.
I think we were actually probably way over prepared, but that honestly made it harder to problem solve quickly. I think that was the biggest thing I learned from that first experience was that, especially when you've got like 10 days to set an entire show, you don't have time to sit there and be like, well, let's try out a couple things and see what the best solution is. No, you have 2 minutes and your first idea has to be right. And that's it. And I think that was what I wasn't mentally prepared for. I think physically we were very prepared with like a ton of choreography.
That's true, yeah.
But mentally I was not prepared for the pressure of problem solving quickly. And Ogunquit is such a prestigious place for theater. And they have very high expectations. And they put very amazing things on that stage. And I think that pressure plus knowing that we had to problem solve so quickly was terrifying.
Yeah.
But in a great way. Like I think that like it was definitely trial by fire and we were very quickly sharpened by that experience. But reality.
How was La Mirada different?
Well, La Mirada was first of all different because we had already
Done it.
fixed we worked out many kinks.
Yeah.
Many kinks had already
Many
been
a
worked out.
kinks.
So we did have the luxury of sort of tweaking things that we didn't have time to fix in Maine. And we just had time to sit with it a little more. And we were much more prepared and aware of how the process would go. And so by the time we got to LA, we were like, we are
got this.
chilling. And we were chilling.
Yeah.
It was much less stressful to do it the second time.
We had also known like what part she was going to do, what I was going
I
to
was
do,
gonna ask.
who can handle what. Because I think that's
yeah.
a huge part of
Mm-hmm.
this duo is that we have figured out like a really good flow of what our strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And once we play to those strengths and
And now we've got it.
yeah.
The first time we didn't have it, but now we have it.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that we didn't pull it off the first time. I think that the show in Maine looked amazing.
Oh, it did,
But
yeah.
did I also cry like 4 times a week? Yes.
Welcome to musical theater.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So strengths in the rehearsal room. Who does what? Like, does somebody serve more as like dance captain vibes, but like we're concerned about numbers and formations? Did you have an associate, or was it just like you're gonna handle this? I'm taking these principles over here. We're gonna workshop this thing over here. Like, who does what?
No, we both function as this is a very hard thing for us to navigate because we've always worked as duo choreographers, and that's not unheard of in the space, but it's definitely less common. We don't work with an associate, and and it's been it's a little bit hard to like qualify. I don't know which one to use.
Either or, sure.
What we do in the room because we sort of just do it as it comes a little bit, but
Yeah.
we know.
I mean, going into it, like we had a good idea of the bits of, choreography that you had down. Like you were practicing that part when we made it up. And so I knew that you were going to go take the ensemble to do that. Let me go take the principals and do their tracking and give them what they're doing, because
I also think we split it up in a very human way. Like in Waitress, there is a section called contraction ballet. Is Austin going to teach that? No. Do you know what I mean? I think that when it comes to me setting very work that's based on female friendship, I'm going to take the reins on that. When it comes to work to something that's with Ogie, you know what I mean? He's, I think that we kind of almost divvy it up with how we can communicate with the actors, with the character role. And I think that we split it up a lot like that too, and how the choreography would make sense coming from each of us based on our personalities and who we are. And I think that also helps a lot.
Does work-life balance happen?
To an extent. Yeah. I think that right now, I think that it will be more important when we're older. We say yes to almost everything. We're in such a learning stage of our career that we are just on a wild adventure together. And so sometimes if work becomes, I don't even think it's something that feels like it's overbearing to our lives. Yeah. But I think we're both in the same headspace of we just want to try everything right now. And so we
learn it, say we did it.
And so we really are, we take a lot of care of each other and we're very supportive to each other in the process. But I mean, sometimes we're on jobs together for a month and it feels like it is a straight month of work, straight up. And it just has to be like that sometimes. Yeah. And I don't think that either of us think super negatively towards that. And we'll kind of take the time afterwards to be okay, we definitely need to rest. But I think that because we're really good at communicating with each other and knowing how far our limits can go before we need a break.
After Waitress, we definitely took
a little bit of a break,
a good
and then
week
we'll
of
get back to it.
Yeah.
And we also are good at if if I'm starting to get a little bit overwhelmed, the other person will really pick up the slack there. And if he's starting to get really overwhelmed, I'll sort of be okay, well, I can teach this section tomorrow. That's another way that we really
that's awesome.
Have an advantage of divvying it up too.
I also think because we're so blessed to be able to do what we do. Once we get into kind of a workflow, it's we don't want to stop it quite yet because we know that we have things, maybe something coming up next month. Let's not break quite yet. Let's get to the next big thing. And then once we hit that big thing, then we can kind of, take a breather for a second. And I think that is so true for us.
Yeah.
So.
Y'all are working on a bunch of developmental theater, or at least some developmental theater. Are you allowed to talk about these projects? Do you know?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah. I mean, we're working on a show called Never Be King. I don't know how much I can tell you about sort of the behind the scenes of where they're at with getting it on its feet.
Yeah.
We just did, new term for us, a salon.
Okay, salon.
Yes,
salon.
we did a salon.
How'd it go?
It was great.
Do you want to tell everyone what a salon is or what that was for this show?
Oh, that's a hard one. We presented 5 numbers.
Fully staged and choreographed.
On their feet. People sang, people danced.
And
is that the definition?
The lead producer invited some people that are part of the project, some people that are not part of the project to see if they would like to be a part of the project.
I don't even know if you should say that, actually.
That's always what happens. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Totally.
And then if it's not, we can cut it.
Okay.
But that should be fine.
We're so new.
I know. Everything we say, we're are we allowed to say that?
I know. I don't know.
A salon is a show and tell, basically. To figure out where you are in the process, for the people who have already put maybe some money in it, see kind of what's going on, and then sort of just sell the thing to additional humans, because Broadway shows take tens of millions of dollars to put up. So you need a lot of people to offer money and raise money and do all the things. So it went well.
Yeah, I thought it went super well.
I'm sad I couldn't come. I got an invite, which I was so stoked about. But
I know.
Next time. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Are there videos?
I think so, yeah.
Great. I'll bother someone on your team.
Yeah, totally.
To see if I can get videos of that. What is the vibe of the show? What is it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a historical feel musical.
Cool.
That's also set in with very early 2000s inspired punk rock music.
Sick.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
choreographing to it is absolutely incredible. Charlie Ray and Sam Columbus wrote and like arranged everything, and it is just a
So good.
wonderland playground to get on its feet. And we've had the best time doing it. I mean, especially the music. I mean, when you're doing anything that's punk rock, it's just so cathartic to just thrash around.
Just
and
rage.
And it's great. I think especially working on it at the same time we worked with Waitress. It's like Waitress is like the antithesis of thrashing around. No one is thrashing. And so to get to have that balance of like the pedestrian work and the like
Go
rock
nuts.
and roll.
Austin, you said that, first of all, it feels like your ography has sort of like melded into its own thing. Like Costin Mayer has its own aesthetic. Second of all, it feels like I've seen that aesthetic on video. I don't know, because I unfortunately did not catch Waitress. I don't know what that means in a theatrical sense, but it feels like Waitress is such a natural extension of what I've already seen you do, or like the vocabulary of it. But when you're talking about punk rock thrashing, is that something that is like previously already within your wheelhouse? Is that y'all expanding your wings in terms of your style a little bit, or like what is that like?
I think you'd watch it and still say, hey, that looks like what they
Costin
do.
Mayer.
Yeah. I don't know if I think everything that we do sort of feels like us still. I think it's a little bit more physical, whereas Waitress is a little bit more internalized movement.
Yeah.
But I still think it very much looks like us.
Yeah.
I want to know what an extension of that looks like, because I feel like, you know, when you're confined by 9x16, it's like a different thing.
Yeah.
And so like, and still I feel like Waitress, again, like so much of it feels like that, which is why I'm like, oh my God, I want to see y'all like move bodies in space.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
We've got a lot of stuff on our YouTube that we've set on other dancers and like
Sick.
thing that like music videos and things like that where we've seen it. But that's still, I mean, even for stage and screen, it's still very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to move. I think there's a place where I think our choreography can live in both realms of like very dancey movement and also very pedestrian human movement.
Yeah.
Is like traditional showbiz appealing to y'all as well, like to do that kind of movement? Or is it like you have your aesthetic and like that's the focus for now? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't even think we really try to make something like our aesthetic
It
per
just
se.
happens.
I think it just happens, and I love traditional musical theater. I think it's super fun. I think that when we go into a show, we're just trying to make movement that feels honest, and I'm not worried about what style or like genre it really is. I'm just trying to think of how the show informs me, how the characters inform me to create movement that is authentic to that storyline, those characters, that setting, and whatever it looks like, it looks like.
Love. What is each of your favorite musical? What's your favorite musical?
That's a really hard question.
That is a hard question. I mean, Wicked, obviously. I will never, ever turn
Does
down seeing
anyone
Wicked.
come on a show and not say Wicked?
Just not say Wicked, I know.
Yeah. But it's like appropriate right now.
That's so hard. There's so many. I loved Beetlejuice.
We both
That was such
really
a good
love
show.
Beetlejuice. That's like also a hot take, I think. It's hottish.
It's hot-ish because it much lore, because like it found its fandom late, and like it was already being kicked out of its theater, and then the fans rallied, and then it came back, and the whole thing. So like it has a voracious, and it's interesting too that we're talking about that, because like TikTok is really what did that. Like Beetlejuice, that's how it found its audience.
Yeah.
Where initially they were, marketing to like traditional musical theater audiences who were like, what are we doing with Beetlejuice the music? Like, we don't know what to do with this, like, Alex Timber's wild and zany, super fun thing. Also, that choreography did not need to go so hard. It is insane. And they're wearing, like, foam headpieces and, like, I'm just like, I literally don't know how they do it. But anyway, then, it was, like, really, in my brain, other than Be More Chill, the first musical where it was like, oh, TikTok is an incredibly, and like just the internet in general is like such a valuable tool for modern Broadway marketing. So like it's a hot-ish take, I think. But like, yeah, no, people love that show. I love it.
I also love, a recent show that I love is Six. That's a whole new format of a show that I just think is so fascinating and fun. I don't think it's my favorite musical, but it's just something that I've seen in the last 5 years that I love.
One of my favorites that comes to mind is when Matilda was on Broadway. Fantastic.
Love.
I thought that was done so well.
Austin saw Shucked without me, but I feel as if if I would have seen Shucked, I would probably be sitting here telling you that that was my favorite musical. I'm obsessed with everything that I've seen of it, which is extensive. But I have not sat in the theater and watched it. But if I could pick like a dream musical to choreograph, it would be something like that. Like, I want to swing around corn cobs so badly.
I have so many feelings about this.
You love it?
I worked on Shucked.
Okay, fierce.
So, like, I love your Shucked love. And also, the second that it's licensable, please let me produce, direct, so, like,
Absolutely.
put you in, coach. Like, that's your Shucked would be the funniest, most insane thing ever. It would be great.
Watching that show was just so fun. Like, it's just such a fun show to just watch and be a part of. So I couldn't imagine like choreographing it. I think it'd be funner.
Funner.
And
Absolutely.
I will say funner.
I think that's great. No,
I
it's a
purposefully
joy.
said funner.
It leans into the silly, but it has so much heart. Like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
And I think that's
great.
where that's where our
Live.
choreography thrives.
Yeah.
If I could pick a place where our choreo thrives, it is the intersection of like heartfelt and humor. I think that like funny but wholesome, but also like sits in that like edgy seat of
It
like
still has a
humor.
good storyline. Like Shuck has a good
I
story.
think that is where we would really thrive.
Yeah.
it's your sweet spot.
It's the sweet
Yeah.
spot for us, I think. Yeah.
I love it. I also have a dream project for the two of you.
Okay, great.
And I don't know if we're going to keep this or not, but also, have y'all worked with Barlow and Bear yet? That feels like it should happen.
No, we have met them, but we've never worked with them.
Yeah.
It feels like that should be it. Like the two, like I think of each of you as like the next Broadway thing. And so in my hopes and dreams, I'm producing The Princess Diaries, which is choreographed by Costin Mayer and written by Barlow and Bear. And I've already told Barlow and Bear this, and they're on board. So I just need.
Oh my gosh.
I will sign.
y'all to get on
If
board.
you had papers to sign, I would sign them.
I need to do some more legit. It's like the first thing that I want to like properly lead produce, but I have to get Disney to agree to it. So.
Just that little, just a
That
little bump in the
Like
road.
tiny little company with like a mouse.
That
at the
would
head.
be the fiercest thing
That
ever.
is
Barlow
a
and Bear is a
great
great
idea.
choice for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think so too.
As I also think that we are a great choice.
I
for
think
that.
so too.
I
Because
endorse
I'm like,
that
y'all could
entire
do
project.
stunning lifts at the ball, but you could also do like fierce pedestrian high school choreography and like.
That
100%.
Wow.
Okay, no one get mad that I'm going to ask this, but is the scene where they do the sleepover and they do the mattress surfing in the second Princess
It
Diaries?
is.
Okay, because imagine that on a stage.
There are no rules here. It also depends if we get the book rights or the film rights. It would be important to me to get the film rights because that has the language that we like. Shut up! Like I don't even know if that's in the book. I read them as a child, but like the movie is the thing that we're gonna have to pull from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and we also are going to need rights to the John Debney score because it's like so beautiful, and like we could marry that with.
That's an iconic idea.
Thank
that
you.
is a really good idea.
I thought of this before I met the two of you in real life, and I'm really glad I'm getting to tell you about it now.
Wow.
Well, we're totally on board.
Great.
And
like
I'm gonna,
Austin's just
I'm
nodding.
Gonna
He's like,
haggle you
sure.
about it for life now.
Great. Please. You have fancier representation than I have. So be like, who has those rights?
Okay.
Catherine's going to raise $20 million to make it happen. Like, I literally.
they will love that.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I want to do it really badly. Okay. I know we're towards the end of our time. So, like, as we are talking about Broadway and social media, Austin in particular, you had mentioned, like, bridging the two of those. What can we do? Broadway needs help. Like in terms of marketing, in terms of accessibility, in terms of reaching digital audiences. Would you have been able to choreograph shows as early as you've been able to without the TikTok of it all?
No way.
No.
Which is crazy. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Like you talking about giving autonomy over your own career, it's like that would have been inconceivable 10 years ago.
100%.
Absolutely.
But you built a platform online.
Not even 10. It would
Like
have been
5.
Yeah, literally.
and like people know your style and know your work. And then we're like, absolutely, we should make a musical with those people.
Crazy.
That's wild. So what else can we be doing? Like I'm a Broadway marketer. What should I be doing? Like what should we be doing to bridge digital audiences and like the 41 in-person theaters we have on Broadway? Whether it's about developmental work or new things or old shows, any of it.
I mean, ain't that just the question of the hour?
Yeah.
So to say frankly, I think we're asking that question too, because we share your passion for like exciting a younger generation about theater. And I don't know. I think that what we find really interesting. Sorry, was this a question for you?
No, it's for
We are
both
one.
of you.
We are one.
And individuals as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's fascinating to us that we talk about all the time is that I think that a hot question right now is like, how do we get a younger generation excited about theater? And I'm like, they're excited about theater. 100%, there is no denying that they're excited about theater. They're just not calling it theater. Sabrina Carpenter's tour has an entire opening number that's like completely theater.
Have you seen it?
Not in person.
I want to.
I do too.
Let's go.
Okay.
I mean, and when you think about even comedians like Bo Burnham, we talk about this all the time. We think the Bo Burnham specials are amazing. And he like writes his own original music and it seamlessly works into his comedy show where he'll be like telling a story and then he'll sit down at the piano and he'll go into song and he'll get back up and he'll tell a story. And we're like, that's musical theater. Like I think that the younger generation loves theater. They're just not calling it theater. They're calling it concerts. They're calling it comedy. They're calling it YouTube. Like there's theater everywhere and they're super invested in it. It's just they're not going to a traditional proscenium stage and buying a ticket and sitting in a seat and
they're going to a concert venue or
But the format and the medium of theater does excite them. And so, I mean, for us, it's sort of just, it's less figuring out like how to market them the current theater and it's how to continue making non-traditional theater that resonates with a younger audience. Whether that's in non-traditional spaces or non-traditional formats. And it's hard because I do love current theater. I love traditional theater too. And I think that it's just once the younger generation feels more comfortable with theater, they'll learn that they want to sit in those spaces as well. It's just that they feel more comfortable at a concert or at a comedy show than they do going to like a fancy proscenium space.
I mean, that's my thing is it's like they don't well, first of all, we do take ourselves incredibly seriously in the theater, and it's silly because we do song and dances. So we're like making skits, and it's like kind of an unserious thing. As like I've dedicated my life to this thing. So like obviously I treat it with great seriousness, but also like I do think that there's something to like non-traditional spaces and also making the traditional spaces more accessible and more welcoming to audiences who maybe don't feel comfortable in those spaces or haven't been in them before. Like I grew up seeing theater, but not everyone does. Yeah. So like I just knew all the rules, but that's not the case for a lot of people. And then I think also it's about access, which is something that you all can do that's so incredible of like showing bits and pieces of choreography, telling the story of putting up a musical as it's happening. Like that was the thing that got me into Barlow and Bear. It's the thing that I started making content about because I was just like, this has been the most gate-kept industry in the universe, and we're watching people compose in real time, which is really vulnerable as creators. I'm sure you can empathize. Like, people watching your process is, like, kind of scary.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's a crazy thing, but I just think there's so many – I didn't mean to take this over, but, like, I think you're so right.
No,
and I think there's so many ways that we can be reaching people. Do you have –
No, that's everything. I mean, it's just – I think that is, like, a huge question. I don't know if we have, like, the solution and the answer, but I think it's good that we're asking the question in the first place. And I think it just has to be.
I think you're so right about saying that people love to see that vulnerability and that makes them also want to go see theater more. Like the amount of people that we met at Waitress that said, oh my gosh, I've been watching all like this whole process from the beginning. I remember when we posted this video where we like showed up to the wrong place for the first rehearsal. It was so embarrassing for us. And they were like, I remember the day you showed up to the wrong thing and like now you're here. Like people came to the show.
They get attached.
Because they watched us choreograph every step of the way.
That's because they have an emotional investment in you and your journey. And theater is like intrinsically human, and you are sharing human vulnerability. So of course they're going to be more invested.
And I think that's
mic drop. Right. Exactly.
But I think that's one thing that we like sometimes do when we're making our content. We kind of make and let our followers feel like they're a part of our process. Like a while ago, we used to like go on TikTok Live and we would make up like choreography on the spot.
I have watched these.
And if we were like stuck at a spot, we would let them like give input. And then they felt like they were part of the process and they loved that.
And the thing is that are part of
They
the
are
process.
part of the process.
Like, much of what we create is informed by the way they receive it.
Yeah.
Not everything.
Yeah,
'cause
it's not even
sometimes
making them feel like they are. They are.
are.
Yeah.
They have really influenced our. That's funny that we're saying that they've influenced us, but I think that it really has. Like, what, so making things for social media is honestly one big
Democracy.
study session. Honestly, well, yes, but also like it's like a way to case test everything. Like we're throwing things out there and seeing what sticks. You know what I mean? Like, it really is seeing how it's a study on like demographic and what resonates with different age groups and what kind of choreography makes people more interested than other. Like, I think that they really are actually fully
Absolutely.
in a large way informing
Yeah.
the choices that we make in a bigger way than we probably think about on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
You literally just spelled out why producers who have the purse strings should care about social media.
100%.
You are doing an out of town on your phone for free.
Yes.
That is so
relevant.
You are
Yes.
literally like proof of concepting a show for free on your phone. If producers ask you to do this and get that data, obviously that should be a paid contract, but it's still going to be way less than you would spend on an out of town.
Yep.
And you can work through so many cobwebs, so many kinks in advance.
People are already making TV like that. The amount of formats that TV producers are just shopping off of like YouTube and short form series, like that, other parts of the industry are already basically doing that format where you're just calling social media your out of town contract and like.
Is Broadway late to the game on something? That's weird. That never happens.
Whoa!
I love Broadway. I do.
I'm dead.
I
I'm so
do
dead.
very much.
Thank you so much for listening today.
Oh my God. Thanks, everybody. Also, I wanted to say before I forgot, I also think that I should produce a Bo Burnham musical that the two of you should choreograph.
We have
done.
It's been like years of us talking about that idea.
Have you spoken with him or his team or anything?
No, we've actually never pursued it, which is hilarious because I'll cold call
Anyone.
Larry Shapiro.
Also, all of the theater work that we've done has
We
been
love a
due to
cold
just
call.
me
Work.
calling people.
That's
how
amazing.
we started working in
Cold
theater.
calling, filling out fillable forms on
I did.
websites
Come
and just
on.
I
Yep.
did.
I love that.
But truly, we should just call him.
Yeah.
Because I really think that he should get into the theater space.
yes.
He's already
He's
doing
there.
it.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So I'd like to produce and or market that as well.
Great.
Thank you so much for that.
You're so fun to talk to.
I'm
We could do this for hours.
We're gonna have to hang out again. Favorite dance number in any musical ever? I broke them.
Honestly, immediately, probably the opening of Shucked.
That's not fair.
I'm gonna tell Sarah
know.
Oglevy. That's gonna make her so happy.
It's just like it captures you the second the music starts playing, and you're like, this is hilarious, fun, awesome, all the things. Sorry.
You can have a different answer though because you
I don't
haven't seen
know.
Shucked.
I don't know what I need like pass line.
Okay, that's fine. Dream show to choreograph.
I want to do new work, so that's kind of hard. But does your Princess Diaries thing?
Yes, both Katharine Quinn projects, the Untitled Bo Burnham
Yes,
musical,
both Katharine Quinn
and
projects.
We're
Princess
we're
Diaries.
so interested in new work. I love doing. I mean, obviously, I would love to do Shucked. I think that would be super fun,
Shucked
and I
would be
want
so
to throw
fun.
corn cobs
Yeah.
in a circle so badly.
Oh my God.
But I do. I mean, we're so interested in like developing new ideas and joining teams to do new work that it's hard to answer. That's my
Yeah.
priority right now.
Yeah.
Do you have any dream project?
I don't. It's always like I am also so obsessed with the idea of creating something brand new that is completely from the ground up, like that we've been a part of. I have fallen in love with that whole concept. Like I used to be solely performer, give me the choreo and I'll just do it. But once I learned like that we can do this on our own and like see it come to life and we've done it, it's
So fulfilling.
so cool to me.
I'm so stoked that you're in this space. There's no world in which I could have anticipated that you would have wanted to choreograph theater when I first started following the two of you, but it's always been story driven. So we're really lucky to have you
That's
in
really
our space.
sweet.
So
We think the same about you.
oh, come on. Most underrated choreographer working today.
Like in theater or anywhere.
Anywhere.
Tucker Barkley.
Facts. That's
Tucker
actually
Barkley is like, which is like nerdy of me to say because I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not.
That's not nerdy.
Yeah. I just think
It's true.
that he's like the greatest choreographer of all time. Anyway.
He's a genius. He's really good.
I don't know his work, so I'm going to have to.
Because it's underrated.
Exactly.
Okay, great. We're going to fix that. One word to describe your choreographic style. I know. Sorry, that was mean. There are two of you, so you can each pick one.
Honest.
Quirky.
Love.
You always say quirky instead of quirky.
Say it.
He says it's quirky. He says corky.
I'm not going to say it again.
But I need to hear it.
Say it again. Now you're thinking.
I'm thinking about it.
Who wears the pants in this relationship?
Is that a self-answerable?
Next question.
If you could change one thing about Broadway right now, what would it be?
These are hard.
These are hard.
I know. So much for rapid fire. My bad.
I would love to see theater exist in non-traditional spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would be so fun. We are like dying on the hill trying to pitch a musical that happens in like sports arenas. I don't know if it needs to be on a football field
Is it the
or
Hunger Games?
in a.
It is not.
Imagine the Hunger Games the musical. That would be actually insane.
That's not a horrible
Yeah,
idea.
would it work?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Drama. If
Yeah.
Les Mis can be, if the French Revolution can be a
Facts,
musical,
facts.
Hunger Games can
This
probably be a
is
musical.
true. But or like a basketball arena. I would love to see things happen in different kinds of spaces because I think that would bring in different kinds of audiences.
Love.
Yeah.
Or you just like ditto?
I'm piggybacking.
I love
Yep.
that. That's great. Where can people find your work?
Our Instagram and TikTok, our YouTube, all of
Our
it is
YouTube's up and
Austin
coming.
Mayer.
Word. Oh wait, you just started vlogging, or you've been vlogging?
A
And
little
I
bit
just started
during the
finding
like
it.
waitress process of things, and
But it's definitely, the long form content is definitely newer to us.
yeah. Don't forget about the Six Flags show that
Yeah.
we did. That's
we'll
on
find
YouTube.
it.
So
We're putting a clip in here.
don't sleep on our 2019 work.
Are there any projects that you can tease or things that people should be looking out for coming up?
Never Be King is in development. We've done a number of pieces for that, and it's getting on its feet, which is really exciting.
I think
That's been our
it.
primary focus.
Yeah.
Now that we're done with, we just closed the second production of Waitress, so
Congrats.
we've wrapped that up for the year. So yeah, our development work is really
We've got
what's
ideas
on the
though.
horizon. Yeah,
got
we do
ideas.
be swinging ideas around town.
We do be.
We do be.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much for being the best first guests ever.
Oh my gosh!
In honor.
Congratulations on
You
your
did it.
first
Congratulations
show.
to
You
you.
did it.
Thank you.
And you are amazing.
Come on, y'all are awesome.
We've done a lot of podcast interviews, and this, I mean, you're a natural.
Thanks.
A natural.
Thanks. Talking to you has been super fun. And I had
So
like
fun.
so much genuine curiosity about everything. So like I'm so stoked to
I
get
know.
to talk.
This
I
was
want to
so
ask
fun.
you 75,000 questions too. We're gonna have to do like a part 2 where we interview you.
Can we get the space for another hour?
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for joining us on Game Changers. Follow Costume Mayor. Stay tuned for Never Be King. Thank you both so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.